bienvenidos a la Daily Hustle. Soy Enrique Byrnes y presidente es el mejor cerveza. No abate por No Filter Network, Miguelito San Dieguito, not with us today, but you can catch him on his Mind Bender podcast on No Filter Network. Will the Thrill Clark, not with us today as well, but he was with us last night. If you want to watch that, go back and check out the latest edition of Deuces Wild. But regardless, we come on here each and every single morning and we properly salute our boys and each and every one of you. Yes, 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 yes. Whoop. Remember this, folks. When we are juiceful, we are useful. And when we are juiceless, we are fucking useless. A very pleasant good morning to you on the 11th day of December 2024. I just recently sent out the Daily Hustle electronic email communication. If you are not signed up for that, get signed up and get signed up now. Buenos dias. Today is Wednesday, December 11th, 2024, and we are now just 2 weeks away from Christmas. And check this out, the first day of Hanukkah. They coincide on the same day this year. If you haven't picked up your Daily Hustle holiday pack yet, immediately click the link below. The place is here. The time is now. So part of the holiday pack would be this right here, the foot reflexology board. I got a message from a dude this morning on Instagram that has dealt with some chronic foot pain. And I'm always a little cautious when somebody is dealing with that and they reach out, they're like, hey, could it help my foot pain, whatever that foot pain is, right? Like all sorts of different ailments that people will deal with their feet. And I'm like, look, I can't guarantee you anything. If you have any questions, you probably want to ask a doctor. But I will tell you guys that it works for me. And the concept and idea of foot reflexology, which has been around for thousands of years, is that it promotes blood flow throughout the body. So not just in the feet, right? It then sends like this, I don't know if it's the nerves or whatever it is. And I don't want to get into the science of it because I don't know the science of it. But it does promote blood flow throughout the course of the body. So because of that, it's been a savior for me. And so to see somebody else utilize it and then get the benefits, he's like, dude, my feet don't hurt anymore. And this is after, I don't know how long he's been using it, but he said he's worked up to 7 minutes now. And then he sent me a pic of his feet with the indents in his feet. I'm like, okay, that's when a boy becomes a man, when you have the indents, which I certainly will have each and every single morning. Some mornings I get on there, I might be on for 20 minutes. I forgot I was on there this morning. I literally forgot I was on there. I was outside for about 3 minutes, and then I came inside. And then when I came inside and stood on it, I must have been on for 15, 20 minutes. So anyhow, this is it. If you're not going to pick one up for yourself, no big deal. Great stocking stuffer. Get it for your office mates, your classmates, your teacher. Cool talking point. You guys can have challenges in class. You can have challenges at the office. Who cares? The other one right here, the Effortless Life Lessons from a Human Crash Test Dummy. Really easy read, believe it or not, amongst the 500 pages. Very short chapters. Written for people with ADHD by somebody with ADHD. So I wanted to make sure it was concise and it had a flow to it. Just life stories, guys. That's it. And then drawing the life lessons out of them. This is the Daily Hustle 222. This is unfiltered guidance from a human crash test dummy. Really, all this is, and the other, I don't know, about 500 pages, is an extension of the Effortless. Just more life experiences. I draw a lot more on not just my experiences in life, but other people's experiences. If you're subscribed to the Daily Hustle, I think you understand and know exactly what that is. Joe, good morning to you. I love it, man. You're building pitching mounds. Fantastic. Well, I appreciate you joining us today. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, you can always join live. No Filter Network, sometime typically between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. is when I like to come on here and get it done. Part of the beauty of not having a regular time is I'm able to adapt and adjust to my life. I got kids, I have pickleball, I have all sorts of other obligations. And so my schedule is not consistent. So the times where I create are not necessarily consistent. And then I always like to do the daily hustle when I write one. Now, I have come on here and not done a daily hustle, or excuse me, done a daily hustle pod when I haven't written one. It's just, I think they flow better. And I like showing up with something of value for you guys. I think that's important. Why are you guys going to tune in and listen to this? And I think a lot of it is, not just the writing, but the writing is what sets us up for everything else and the rest of the show. So today's a fun one. All right. So go to ericbyrnes.com, by the way, if you want to pick up any of these items, plus the Flippy. It's the double bird necklace that I have on right now. It's not a fuck you to the world. It's a fuck you to the naysayers, the detractors. It is a laser focus. Get the fuck out of my way. I'm going to do my thing. All right. Daily Hustle quote of the day. The person who doesn't value you is blocking you from the one who will. Let them go. Robert Tew. Daily Hustle translation. The New York Yankees have arguably the most storied franchise in all of professional sports. 27 World Series titles and a monument park loaded with Hall of Fame legends. Babe Ruth, Joe D, Yogi, Mick. The list goes on and on. They also just so happen to play in what many call the greatest city in the world. And after living in New York City for parts of 10 years, I can't argue. That all said, since prized free agent Juan Soto decided to leave the Yanks and sign with the Mets, people within the organization, and obviously the Yankee fan base has been embarrassingly beside themselves. The disdain and hate has been, in my opinion, comical, real, and a tad disconcerting. So I thought I would use this daily hustle to send the Yankees and their fans a quick message. Move the fuck on. The bitch didn't want you. Some chicks like the quarterback, some chicks like the lineman, some chicks are into the trombone player. Any way we slice and dice this, Soto wasn't into you. And if you didn't see all the red flags, that's on you. 35 seconds after you guys lost the World Series, the dude was smiling at his locker talking about free agency. Look, you're still the Yankees. You haven't had a losing season in 32 years. You still have your 27 titles. And if you guys didn't shit on yourselves, you actually had a shot at winning the World Series this past season. Life's good. The proper perspective is that Soto and the Mets just saved you from spending a king's ransom on a guy that is a shitty outfielder and a suck-ass base runner. Good riddance. The problem was that you guys got so blindsided by the competition and bidding war that you were basically at the altar with with no prenup and an I do away from damn near vowing your gigantic percentage of the franchise away. I love finding typos in my work. Thankfully, the bitch got cold feet and ran away. You fuckers should actually be thanking Soto. So now what? Well, at this point, take the advice I gave my friend Joey Bag of Donuts when his fiance went AWOL on their wedding day. Get the ring back ASAP, sell it, go to Vegas for the weekend, overindulge in strippers, blow, and whatever other weird shit you might be into, and then come back home and let's reset. Hold on a second here. I got a little pause in this. And I changed the stripper. I had hookers and blow. But the problem with that is that if my mom read that, and I know my mom's going to take this shit literal and doesn't always see everything as a joke. The next time I see her, it's going to be, Eric, why are you always talking about hookers and blow? Do you do that? Like, Mom, no. I've never done blow in my life. I mean, geez. Anyhow, it's a little over the top. So I decided to dumb it down a little bit. Okay. Uh, get the ring back ASCB, sell it, go to Vegas. Yeah, we already went over that. Well, why isn't the rest of this thing loading up? I don't know. It just cut it off. Fantastic. This just gets better and better. Oh, I knew it. All right. Bottom line is this: you've got $750 million freed up over the next 15 years to lock down some pretty. Yo, I think I'm back. We've had serious internet issues here recently, so I apologize for the delays. If there's a couple of those, I mean, we'll just shut this thing down, but I'm going to continue to try to push through it. I can always restart one off of my iPad as well. But just going on here and just kind of finishing with this is that the Yankees have an incredible run. I think it could be the greatest run in the history of sports, even more than titles, considering that it's Major League Baseball and no other team has even come close to doing this. But they're now 32 consecutive seasons without finishing under 500. Yeah, I mean it's fucking insane to think that that is the case. So, with that said, if you got to believe one team's going to be consistently good and the other, I'm going with the Yankees. Not to mention the fact that you get to join forces with another superstar, Aaron Judge, who's already there. So I then dug into this a little bit deeper, and you think about Juan Soto and where he's been, and I talked about this last night. Juan Soto was in Washington with Bryce Harper. Juan Soto was in San Diego with Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. Juan Soto was in New York with Aaron Judge. Darryl Strawberry said that if Juan Soto wanted to be the fucking man, where is he to be? The Mets. Why? Because there's no other superstar. That's great for the ego. That's terrible for the team. It's a long time. And I promise you, Juan Soto is going to get tired of Juan Soto. It sounds pretty fucked up, but it's true. I think we all get caught up in the nostalgia of success and fame. And I think as we get older, you start to realize, man, I don't know. I like it a lot better when it's about the team and not just me. And so far, it's been about Juan Soto. Now, he does have a World Series title to his credit. So I'm not going to take anything away from him in that. And I don't know if he's a great team player or not. I've heard both. I heard in Washington he was. I heard in San Diego that he wasn't. As far as I'm concerned, a great team player is somebody that shows up, busts their ass on the field, hustles every day, and plays. So if you look at those things, I don't look at Juan Soto as a non-hustler. I think he goes after it. He's not a good outfielder. He's just not. He's not a great base runner either. So you take those two things and you're like, man, $750 million for what is maybe the best hitter in baseball. He's up there. Certainly up there. I don't know if he's the best, but he's pretty damn close. I love his strikeout to walk ratio. And he strikes out a little bit, but his walks are just so next level. So, all that said, I think this is just a situation where he wanted to be the man. And ultimately, it could come back and bite him in the ass. And I say bite him in the ass. It's just in the sense of championships. The Dodgers have a stranglehold on the National League for the next 10 years. They 1,000% do. And they're about to sign the Japanese pitcher as well. So it's just going to get more and more and more. And it's not just about the money that Steve Cohen is willing to spend. It's about the money that the Dodgers are going to spend as well, but they're going to smartly spend. And the fact that Andrew Friedman and his staff have just done it fucking brilliantly. They have. And I don't see them getting dethroned in the National League for years to come. Could the Braves or Phillies sneak one in there, or maybe even the Mets down with Soto? I don't know. Maybe. But I think every year for the next 10 years, the Dodgers are going to be the favorites. Where if Soto went to the American League, just about every year for the next 10 years, I guarantee you, the Yankees would have been one of the favorites, if not the favorites there. So that's the question mark there. Okay, I mentioned the Strawberry thing. Already kind of talked about that. Let's go to Max Fried, because the whole concept and idea was about moving on for the New York Yankees. And they did in a hurry. They signed Max Fried on an 8-year, $218 million contract. He was in that 7-year range. Apparently, after the Soto debacle, they added an extra year on top of it, went over the top for the money as well. Fried's a good pitcher. Thrill and I looked at his stats last night. He's got a 3 ERA. Contact guy, doesn't strike out a ton. This is like a 1-1, 1-2 whip guy. Let's put it this way. I went this morning on my iPad to try to find the article about Max Fried signing on MLB.com. It wasn't front and center. So $218 million for a dude that a day after the contract signed, they just kind of bury this thing. Less than 2 hours after Fried went to the Yankees, another big arm came off the board. Nathan Eovaldi agreed to a 3-year, $75 million deal to return to the Rangers. So the Red Sox not only missed out on Fried, but they then missed out on Eovaldi as well. I mean, Eovaldi threw the ball really well for the Red Sox in his time there, but he is headed back to Texas. Okay, Roki Sasaki. This is interesting here. It says there are a number of quality free agent starters still available, but none bigger than Corbin Byrnes. So he's expected to top what Fried got, what Blake Snell got. He is supposed to be up there. He most likely will sign close to the richest deal ever signed by a starting pitcher. I think that belongs right now to Yamamoto with Garrett Cole right behind him. But then you got Jack Flaherty, you got Sean Manaea, Nick Pivetta, Walker Buehler, and then Japanese sensation Roki Sasaki, who apparently the Dodgers are going to be all in on. So where all of this goes from here, we have no idea. But here are some of the other starters to sign this winter. You got Luis Severino, 2 years, $67 million, with a player option for that was with the A's. You got Kikuchi, Yusai Kikuchi, 3 years, $63 million with the Angels. That's a nice little sign. He can be good. Matthew Boyd, 2 years, $29 million with the Cubs. Shane Bieber, 1 year, $14 million with a player option with the Guardians. Good for Bieber for staying there. Huh. California guy. I'm surprised he didn't come west. And then Alex Cobb, 1 year, $15 million with the Tigers. All right, beyond Flaherty, Manaea, and Pivetta, other free agent starters include Andrew Heaney, Jose Quintana, Max Scherzer, and Justin Verlander. I mean, basically with Scherzer and Verlander, they're just going to be able to pick their spots, right? Not going to get paid a lot of money. But there's huge upside to both of those guys. All right, winter meetings are firing, so stay tuned because a ton of action coming out of Dallas. Look for trades, to look for signings, and all sorts of other shit that typically happens at those meetings. All right, let's go to the NFL for a second. Oh, and Joe, great point. Why isn't Bauer signed? I have no fucking idea, man. Give me a team, I'll sign him. 1,000% would sign him. But I don't know if it's a PR issue. Probably. I just think there's so many other guys out there that they don't want to deal with it. And as entertaining as Bauer is on social media, if you knew he was going to be a frontline starter, and I have all the confidence in the world he would be, I think you could deal with the other stuff. But when he comes with some baggage and there's no guarantee he's going to be a frontline starter just for the fact that the only place he's been pitching is Mexico. So it's really tough to gauge how good he is. I mean, I look at the metrics, I look at the numbers, which everything I've seen is this guy's sitting in that mid to upper 90s and has been absolutely filthy. So I would take a chance. I'm a UCLA guy, probably got a soft spot for him, but he certainly needs to be pitching in Major League Baseball. Someone's got to give him a shot. All right, the Super Bowl odds now. 2025 odds. The Lions are favored to win it all. The Chiefs on the rise and the Bills drop. Oh, really? Because of the one loss to the Rams. Okay, fuck you. The playoff push calls for playoff atmospheres. The Week 14 slate has plenty of that with the teams within the top 5 Super Bowl odds duking it out. Duking, same difference. In one-score games after some entertaining matchups, things remain the same at the very top of the Super Bowl odds. The Detroit Lions plus 260 they're still the favorite to hoist their first Lombardi Trophy. Before Week 14 kicked off, the Kansas City Chiefs, Philadelphia Eagles, and Buffalo Bills were all at plus 500 to win the Super Bowl. Here's the issue with Kansas City, Buffalo. I think you could put Baltimore into that category. Just a dangerous team with a dangerous quarterback. You just don't know who's going to come out of the AFC. Out of the NFC, Well, then I can make the same argument. Detroit, Philadelphia, Minnesota. Those are the three best teams in the NFC. And then you got the three best teams in the AFC. Okay. Just one game for it all. Bills, Lions. I like the Bills. Wonder who would be favored in that one. It says Kansas City was able to separate itself a bit in his performance with his play in the clutch. If I could bet against a team winning the Super Bowl, which I'm pretty sure you could do that, right? I would bet against Kansas City. I get it. They're on some kind of roll. And the doink field goal winner was comical. And it's got everyone, I don't know what they call it, like the Taylor voodoo or whatever. Look, some teams know how to win fucking games. Some quarterbacks know how to win games. Some head coaches just know how to win games. There is an element of luck. Looking back upon that game, though, I don't know how much luck was there. That was a 30-yard field goal that should have been made. Now, they got lucky to put themselves in position to go down there to win it on that last drive, and there's luck involved. But, man, it's a good team. Kansas City's a good team. They're not a great team. They do not scare me one little bit. So it says the Lions, Michigan's high road, the Lions survived a true shootout with their rival Green Bay Packers. Packers are plus 2,000 on Thursday Night Football to get to 12-1 and capture their 11th straight win. In games like this, even as Detroit defense has had a down showing, the potency of its offense can carry it through in a high-scoring affair. Whether it's Jared Goff posting another 3-touchdown effort, his fourth of the season, David Montgomery and Jamar Gibbs totaling 70-plus scrimmage yards each and scoring a touchdown each, or Jamison Williams and Tim Patrick stealing the spotlight from 2023 All-Pro Amon-Ra St. Brown. The Lions' offensive attack can get it done in so many ways. That's part of why Ben Johnson is one of the most sought-after offensive coordinators in recent memory. I love Dan Campbell. It says Dan Campbell's Lions have been high risk, high reward in this era, and it paid off against Green Bay this season. In 2 games, the Lions win 6 of 7 with four touchdowns on fourth down conversions. Oh, that's insane. Including a game-clinching run from Montgomery to set up a game-winning kick from Jake Bates. Goff, can we give Goff some credit? Made the play a little more interesting for us viewers too. Look, Goff, let's not forget, was traded away by the Rams. I think about this. You're Jared Goff. You're what, number 1 pick in the draft? So he's traded away. He gets the Rams, I think, to the Super Bowl? Yeah, he lost to Tom Brady. Gets the Rams to the Super Bowl. They lose. And then the Rams ship him out for another quarterback. It was basically the ultimate fuck you. We're not going to win a Super Bowl with this guy. They send him to Detroit, where Detroit's really never won. Honestly, almost in my entire lifetime, I'm 48 years old. They've almost never fucking won. They send him there, and you think his career would go to die. He ends up resurrecting his career, and now he's got the Lions as the Super Bowl favorite. Really cool fucking story. Really cool dude. I'm not tight with Goff. Don't really know him at all. Have a lot of friends that do know him well, specifically Kelly James. They're always hanging together. I see them on their private planes and doing their thing. I get it. That's also not necessarily his lifestyle either. The guy just seems like a really quality dude. I know his dad played minor league baseball, and just a really cool story. So he's fun to root for. He is really fun to root for. If the Bills or Niners were not there, I definitely would be rooting for the Lions. I'm just a fan. That's it. That would be the team. So the Bills are still one of the top teams in the game at 10-3, but those 10 wins and the 7-game winning streak they entered week 14 with did not matter to a Rams squad who came in at 6-6. Yeah, but the Rams are a lot better than the 6-6, and they just got healthy. LA reminded everyone that with a fully healthy, oh, there you go, offense under the guidance of genius. I mean, genius. Is that a, I mean, it's not fucking Bill Walsh here. It's a good coach. Genius. Head coach Sean McVay. The Rams can play with anything on any given Sunday. I know they can. I get they can. Can we stop with the fucking genius calls on Sean McVay? He's a good coach. You got to earn that. I mean, you got to really, really earn that. And that's multiple Super Bowls. That's not just fucking one. Multiple. Bill Walsh didn't get called a genius until he was like 3 in. Actually, I think that's when he walked away. Was after the 3. But you got to prove it. And I think McVay's a good coach. But the genius thing, geez. And it's kind of reserved for Walsh. Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, and Kyron Williams did what they wanted to do in the matchup. The Rams churned the Bills' defense to the tune of 457 yards and a season-high 44 points. It was the most points a Bills defense had given up in a game since the 13 seconds overtime thriller between them and Kansas City in the divisional round in 2021. The 44 points allowed are an issue, but they're slightly skewed. One of Buffalo's other major issues on the day was giving up a blocked punt touchdown in the second quarter. Yeah, that happened right in front of me. That was rough. The Bills' offense, however, was not the issue. No, it wasn't. They scored over 30 points for the 11th time this season. Khalil Shakir, he is so fucking good. The little guy that could. And Amari Cooper each had over 90 receiving yards, and the team notched 445 yards of total offense. Oh, yeah. And there's a guy named Josh Allen who may have made his best case for MVP in a losing effort. Allen seems to make history each week. Despite losing to the Rams, Buffalo's signal caller totaled 424 yards of offense, 342 passing, 82 rushing. I didn't realize he had 82 rushing. I mean, I knew he escaped the pocket a lot, but damn. And he accounted for 6 touchdowns, 3 passing and 3 rushing. He's the first player in NFL history with 3 passing and rushing touchdowns, each in the same game. I was going to say, I mean, that's a rare feat. Allen is also currently a huge betting favorite to win the MVP. Okay. Enough on that. Let's see if they have the odds of everybody as we kind of go down here. No. I mean, they talk about odds and shit. You shouldn't an article, you just kind of list this whole thing. Yeah, whatever. Okay, a couple more things here. I don't know if you guys saw this. This was really, really, really weird. The exchange between Brett Favre and Mark Gastineau. So, former New York Jets defensive end Mark Gastineau remains upset about Brett Favre gifting Michael Strahan his record-breaking sack in 2001. And Favre says he understands why. In 1984, Gastineau set the NFL single-season sack record with 22. 17 years later, in the final week of the 2001 season, Strahan was credited with a sack of Favre and the waning minutes of a New York Giants loss to the Green Bay Packers, giving Strahan 22 and a half on the season. On what was apparently a designed running play, Favre did not hand the ball off, instead keeping it and rolling in Strahan's direction before sliding, handing the pass rusher the record. Yeah, I remember this. A lot of controversy surrounding it. Gastineau was in attendance for the game and hugged Strahan after he broke the record. But on Tuesday, ESPN shared a clip from the upcoming 30 for 30 documentary, The New York Sack Exchange. The footage shows Gastineau confronting Favre at a 2023 memorabilia show, leading to a tense exchange. In the clip shared by ESPN, Gastineau approaches Favre at the Chicago Sports Spectacular in 2023. Favre tries to extend his hand for a handshake, but Gastineau wasn't interested. Instead, starting an intense exchange, Favre suggests to Gastineau that they've met before. Yeah, right. When you fell down for him, Gastineau says. I'm going to get my sack back. I'm going to get my sack back, dude. You probably would hurt me, Favre says. Well, I don't care, Gastineau says. You hurt me. You hurt me. You hear me? Yeah, I hear you, Favre says. You really hurt me. You hurt me, Brett. Gastineau says before Favre is directed away by someone else at the event. Favre responded to the release of the video clip in a series of posts on X later Tuesday, acknowledging that he aided Strahan's claiming of the record while saying he meant no harm to Gastineau. Favre tweeted this out yesterday. I want to clear the air on the footage release showing a small dust-up between myself and Mark Gastineau, the former New York Jets. So, look, Gastineau was almost in tears. It was kind of sad. Now, if anything, I could see how Gastineau's upset. I would be more in the lines of like, yo, dude, that's fucking bullshit, man. And do it with a smile on my face. But yo, you hurt me, Brett. You broke my heart. You took my record away. Fuck off. If you're hanging on to some sack record that nobody gives a shit about, nobody really knows about. I mean, I guess you do. And it was a hell of a year. Mark Gastineau was a hell of a fucking player. I understand that. And I do still think it's his record. But at the same time, that's a little crybaby-ish to come out now and say, Brett, you hurt me. You hurt me. Like, fuck. Seriously? I don't know, man. Like, life goes on. I know Gastineau had some like beautiful daughters and just it's a whole nother life to live. And so I don't know if it's just because he's in the later stages of his life or what else is going on with him that this would be that big of a deal. I do think that people in Gastineau's camp should petition for that not to be a sack. Because if you think about it, I mean, you call it a designed run. He wasn't passing the ball. So, and if you're Strahan, you know what? This would be an awesome opportunity for Michael Strahan, who has gone on to do amazing things with his life, to just say, fuck it. Mark, have the record. I'm good, bro. I host Good Morning America. I'm the lead guy on Fox Studio, man. Like, I'm fine, right? This would be the right thing to do. And I think it would be a really awesome thing to see the three of them, Favre, Strahan, and Gastineau, reconcile this. And not only have this sit down talk about it, but I would bring in the NFL and some sort of record adjuster and just say, look, like, this wasn't a sack. I wasn't going to throw the football. This was, call it a design run, and you just got tripped up in the backfield. And I don't know how that would affect the statistics of a bunch of other shit that's going on, because every time a quarterback gets tackled in the backfield, is that a sack? Right? If he's trying to, like, he gets it, design run to the right, like even like an option, and he gets sacked or he gets tackled, is that a sack? I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out. Hopefully it plays out okay. At no point was I thinking about hurting Gastineau, of course. Maybe it crossed my mind to help Strahan. I didn't think it through. This wasn't my forte at the time. In retrospect, I understand how Gastineau feels. We played a brutal game. Gastineau played during an era where guys didn't make generational wealth. I see now how being the sack king would elevate his value at card shows, strengthen his case for the Hall of Fame, increase his demand as a public speaker. Yeah, yes and no. You're Mark Gastineau. In New York City, you play for the Jets. I mean, it's a huge team. And even if he's not the all-time sack leader, I had no idea who the fuck the sack leader was. I had no idea. But even if he's not, he's still an absolute beast. And then if I were to hire him to come speak, I would introduce him as a sack leader and explain the whole Strahan thing and maybe even have him talk about it. That'd be fascinating. So Gastineau has never reached the semifinal stage in the Hall of Fame voting, despite being a 3-time first-team All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler, and one of only 3 players, along with J.J. Watt and T.J. Watt, with 2 seasons of 19-plus sacks. Why is he not in the fucking Hall of Fame? Do you know how long I've thought about not being in the Hall of Fame? A long time ago, Gastineau said during a sit-down interview released in the trailer. Since Strahan broke the record nearly 23 years ago, the Pittsburgh Steelers' T.J. Watt tied the record in 2021. Justin Houston in 2014, Jared Allen in 2011 have each matched Gastineau with 22 in a season. So he holds a share of the record. But it's what, him and TJ Watt. So TJ Watt actually would be the official guy. Huh. All right, onward and upward. It's with the exchange. If you haven't seen the exchange, check it out, though. It's really, really, really awkward. Okay, college football playoff. This is interesting because this is about to get going. So you got Oregon's the 1 seed. Georgia the 2 seed. Boise State the 3 seed, and Arizona State the 4 seed. Is that fucking incredible? Arizona State was picked to finish dead last in their conference. And somehow, some way, they end up winning the conference. What, the Big 12 it is? In their first year in the Big 12. And they're the number 4 seed. I don't know if they stand a chance. I really don't know how good they are. They're obviously good. But they're going to have to face Texas, most likely, who plays Clemson. Ohio State plays Tennessee. The winner of that will face Oregon. So Oregon and Arizona State, they're going to have their hands full. You're going to have Tennessee or Ohio State playing Oregon, and then, like I said, Texas or Clemson. Boise State will get Penn State or SMU, and then Georgia's going to get Notre Dame or Indiana. Notre Dame's 7.5-point favorite in that one. Alabama left out. You could rant, rave, and do whatever. Look, would Alabama be favored in a game against SMU? Yes, by a shit ton. So you can't tell me that SMU is the right pick. I like SMU. We like the feel-good stories, everything else. But if you have a team that would be a significant favorite against another team and you leave that team out, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So the first 4 teams that were out were actually Alabama at 9-3, Miami at 10-2. I mean, I think they have a good argument too, but they absolutely dropped the ball, so to speak, against that Syracuse and that loss out there in Western New York. And then Ole Miss 9-3, South Carolina 9-3. That's fine, whatever. So the SEC is so brutal. I mean, that's kind of what you want, right? Parity in college football. You certainly have that in the SEC. And speaking of the SEC, last thing here, they dominated the TV numbers this season. So the SEC may have only landed 3 college football playoff teams. But TV viewers were keeping tabs on many more than throughout the regular season. The SEC accounted for 8 of the 10 most watched schools during the 2024 regular season, according to Nielsen viewership. Georgia, at 8.6 million average viewers per game, was number 1 by a considerable margin over the second highest school, which was Ohio State, 6.8 million. The Bulldogs played in 2 of the 3 most watched games of the season against Alabama. That was a 12 million viewership on September 28th. Texas was 13.2 million on October 19th, which both aired on ABC. The November 30th Michigan-Ohio State game on Fox got 12.3 million viewers. The Michigan-Ohio State rivalry, I get it. It's really big out there in Michigan, in Ohio, and the whole debacle with the flag planting and all this shit. I got it. I understand. It's a big rivalry. When they were talking about this being the biggest rivalry in sports, I'm like, fucking save it. It's just not. It is in your guys' area. Really cool. I mean, you can't. It's not even the biggest rivalry in college football. I mean, you had two other games that were higher. Three other. I mean, geez. I don't know. I think we all get locked in our little worlds, and it's okay. I respect Michigan and Ohio State. I respect the rivalry. I just don't think it's that big of a deal. I think Ohio State's actually taking it way too hard. I think Ohio State's big comeback in all this is Michigan. You guys got a shitty year. Fuck off. Yes, you beat us 13-10. I mean, we didn't play our best game. We're going to college football playoffs. You're going home. That's it. Right? So it'll be interesting to see how Ohio State rebounds after that one. All right. It says rounding out the top five were Alabama, 6.6 million viewers on average per their games. Texas, 6.4 million. And then Tennessee, 5.4 million. They were followed by Michigan was at 5.2 million. Texas A&M, 4.9 million. LSU, 4.8. Kentucky. How about this? Kentucky, 4.5. I mean, why? Huh. SEC, I guess. At number 10, Florida, 4.3 million. The SEC's death propelled it to the top spot overall, but the leagues distanced themselves from their competitors when it came to the television ratings. Of the top 10 most watched games this year in the regular season, the SEC occupied number 1, 3, 5, and 7, while the Big Ten had 2, 4, 6, and 8. I mean, that's pretty similar. Early season crossover games between the leagues tested Michigan, USC, LSU, ranked 9th and 10th. The numbers do not include conference championship games, and data encompassed all games across ABC and ESPN networks, Fox's networks, NBC, CBS, and the CW. No conference networks were included, as some are not Nielsen rated. Kentucky's average may have been inflated. Okay, this makes sense. Because its 4 ABC games were the only times it appeared on a Nielsen rated network. Before last weekend's SEC championship, Sankey noted that 16 of the top 20 regular season broadcasts involved at least one SEC team. Makes sense. A piece of the puzzle that was really important for us to access more over-the-air broadcast TV, he said, we viewed that as a fan-friendly opportunity, noting the wide exposure and broad access to over-the-air television. This season, ABC took over the rights of SEC's primary games, which previously aired on CBS, and saw a significant uptick in viewership. ABC's primetime, 6.4 million, mid-afternoon, 5.8 million. Slots were the most watched of any network, according to ESPN. Nielsen also disclosed the most watched team in each conference. In addition to Georgia and Ohio State, they were Miami in the ACC, Colorado in the Big 12, Army in the AAC, Colorado State in the Mountain West Conference, Marshall in the Sun Belt, and UTEP in Conference USA, and of course, Notre Dame is the independent. College football expansion in both the SEC and Big Ten solidified both leagues as ratings gold for the networks. 2 of the 4 highest rated games involved newcomers, including Georgia, Texas. Okay. A lot of people watch the SEC, we know that. But college football is in a very healthy spot. So good thing the kids are getting broke off right now. I mean, the fact we used to not pay them is actually an atrocity. Seriously. I mean, especially think about some of the walk-ons, right? Paying their way through school, and they're helping their school and earn millions and millions of dollars. Crazy. Everyone have a fantastic day. Again, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, I thank you. If you can leave a review, 5 stars if you're feeling generous, write a little something. Will Clark and I would greatly appreciate it. If you're listening to the Deuces Wild feed, great. No big deal. Keep listening. If you're listening to the Daily Hustle feed, great. Keep listening. All good. We will fill the Deuces Wild feed with the Daily Hustles. And I'm not sure if we filled the Daily Hustle, the Deuces Wild and the Daily Hustles, but we got 2 feeds for you guys to consume the content. If you're watching or viewing, listening on No Filter Network's YouTube channel, we thank you for that. And if you could leave a review there, that'd be great as well. All right. Everyone have a fantastic day. We'll be back at you tomorrow with another DH.